evening. Physics. I do not get physics. Okay, before you start saying that I'm jumping too quick to conclusions, allow me to share my backstory. As some of you may or may not know, I love to read. I love words and the feeling of learning new words and creating stories in my head. Words are just something that makes sense to me. They will never fail me and stop being words. They are dependable in a world of chaos and people who are often unreliable. I can see the words are numbers that I started with in an equation, and I can agree with the outcome, but not physics. I don't even know where to begin. I can't even see what I'm starting with. Physics studies matter that sometimes cannot even be seen by a microscope. Most of it is guesswork and theories. And my brain can't understand that, quite yet. I felt the same way with God. I couldn't see him, and I didn't feel him in my heart like I was promised I would when I became a Christian at the age of 7. I told myself that maybe I wasn't a strong enough Christian, or I wasn't trying hard enough. And that's why I didn't feel any different. So I decided to be lazy, in a sense, and let God be a nice thought in the back of my mind, and feel content to live just being a weak Christian. Try my best to be loving and kind to everyone, but without putting in the work, without actively trying to grow a relationship with God. About 2 years ago, something hit me. I don't remember exactly when or why, but I recall a feeling that there had to be something more to life and physics. I prayed to God every day, asking to let me feel him in my heart, in my life, and this time I meant it. Now I believe that God put that feeling in my heart 2 years ago because he wants me, and so that I could want to find him. Despite my unwillingness to put in the effort to learn physics, physics doesn't stop working. The idea of gravity literally keeps me grounded, because keeps you on the ground.
That's true.
Okay, carrying on. Principles of physics are woven into everything around me, just like God. When you put in the effort, heart, soul, and mind to seek God, you will find him. In Matthew 7, verse 7, Jesus says, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you." Now, you could interpret this to mean that Jesus will give you anything you want, from a fancy car or $10 million. But I believe that this speaks to when you truly want to find God and the truth. A world of true happiness and love is found and made available to you. You actively and continually seek out God. When I put that mentality of seeing God within everything into practice, I began to see him. I see my friends and family and the unconditional love that they have for me, and I see God working in them. I think of my parents giving me advice that I probably should have paid more attention to when I was younger, and I find God wanting his children to be safe and make the right choices, just like how my parents do. We are not naturally good people. The humanity in us is actually from God. All that is good is shown to us through God's example and commands. When we allow God to work in our hearts, we show goodness and love. To think that when we show compassion to others, it's God's influence and him working in our hearts is powerful and empowering. Of course, there have been challenges as a Christian youth today, even at school. And I'm not suddenly immune to stage fright, even though my shaking hands wish I were. But I have learned ways to cope and work through things with Jesus' advice. And I wish everyone could look to what Jesus says about things we are facing. In the US, people have been fighting to take Jesus out of the classroom. Thankfully, not at CCC. There are a few schools where you will find chapels, a Christian curriculum, as well as Christian teachers who genuinely want to help you find God and set good examples. I can thank all my teachers and CCC staff and classmates and friends personally, but I'll be here until Jesus comes. So instead, I want to thank all of you for always going above and beyond for me and others, and for allowing me to see God in all of you. And I still don't get physics.